Okay, so first off, what are integral transforms? Integral transforms is useful, nasa atong slide, if it allows one to turn a complicated problem into a simpler one. Okay, so technically speaking, differential equations are a problem in the realm of calculus. So if we have an integral transform, we transform our calculus problem, our differential equation problem, into one that is algebraic in nature. Okay? Suppose that we want to solve a differential equation with an unknown function f. One first applies a transformation to the differential equation, turn it into an equation that can be solved easily. No? Medyo questionable panigamay ang can be solved easily. Di ko siya ingon nga easy kayo. But later ato ma-appreciate kung saan both pasabot sa kaninga statement one can be solved easily. Okay? So we have a differential equation. We apply transformation to it. The transform may be used as a verb or a noun in this case. So it will be transformed into another form of another parameter. So if ang original equation is in terms of x or in terms of time, lahat ng parameter ang effect sa transform. No? Ang pinaka-common nga parameter is the S parameter. So we solve it. Mas dali man i-solve ang algebraic equation kaysa differential equation. So we solve the equation, the algebraic equation, and then apply an inverse transform. No? The same transformation nga itong i-apply sa equation, sa differential equation, para ma-transform balik ang atong algebraic equation, which is already the solution, into from an S parameter into back to the X parameter or time parameter. So an integral transform has this general formula. No? So it's a function in terms of S, or sometimes ginawrite na siya og capital F. No? Capital because it denotes na transformation has already taken place. No? A function capital F of S, no? Yung S parameter, so parang lang duha. Yung actual na operation is our given function f of t will be multiplied by another function. We call this function the kernel k of parameter s and t, and integrate it from a to b. Okay? So after performing integration, multiply na to itong original function by a kernel. After performing integration, mawala si t, no, and it will be transformed to an equation in terms of S. No? So the most famous transforms that is available, now daghan mga klase transforms, they may be hundreds, but in engineering, the most famous ones are the Laplace transform and the Fourier transform. The Laplace and the Fourier. For the Laplace transform, the kernel is exponential function e to the power of negative st. For the Fourier transform, it will be 1 over, ano siya sa slide na ako lang i-reiterate. Square root of 2 pi times e to negative I or j, square root of negative 1 st. Okay. So Fourier transforms and Fourier series will be reserved for higher mathematics. For differential equations or ordinary differential equations, focus lang sa Laplace transform. So, supposing given tag function f of t, okay? So ang notation for Laplace transform will be capital letter L, no? Sometimes just plain L or stylized letter L. So naka-styling yan na inside bracket, braces, no? So meaning ano in mathematics, integral transform, no? Operator. So the Laplace transform of a function will be a function f of s equal to, so ako lang ni kopyahon, the integral of our function f of t times the kernel, which is negative e to the power of negative st, evaluated from na may restriction ang atong Laplace transform, it will be from 0 to positive infinity. So this is the formula for the Laplace transform. Okay. Nasa ato ang slide. No? So let's say, for example, let's find the Laplace transform of 1. No? Example. Our f of x is equal to 1. Let's find the Laplace transform of 1. Okay, so it's a Laplace transform of 1. Laplace transform of 1 will be equal to integral of 1 times e negative st evaluated from 0 to infinity. Kulang din. dt. Apa sa slide ba sige? Baka kulang sa slide, dapat na dt. Ilang dt. Dx ni kay man. In terms of x man siya. So, sx dx. Yeah, sx. Minor lang na siya nga kuan. So, kung sa atong, of course, kung sa atong function in terms of mapatibutang din. Okay. So, ato nang i-integrate. Ito ba ni? Exponential function is itself all over the constant s minus e negative x. Plug. Evaluated from 0 to infinity. Okay. So, pa na din ako yung minus dapat. So, e to the infinity all over negative s minus e to the 0 over negative s. Was exponential function as e approaches when e is raised to infinity. Infinity. Negative infinity mo din yun, no? Negative infinity. 0. Okay, very good. So this will be 0. Cancel out ang negative. This is 1. Therefore, the Laplace transform of 1 is equal to 1 over s. So, muna yung Laplace transform. Yeah. Okay. Seems simple enough. Other one. Kanang isa na lang ako ano. Okay, medyo lisod na siya i-transform ang x squared lagay na siya. Let's say, for example, another exponential function raised to the arbitrary constant a. So what's the Laplace transform of e to the power of ax? So integrate from 0 to infinity e to the a x times e to the negative x dx. 0 to infinity of e a minus s because s is constant x dx. So the same gyapon kanina, no? May tabo. Constant pa nila. So the same gyapon kanina, no? E to the infinity is negative infinity, 0. Basta ang outcome niya the Laplace transform of this one to be equal to 1 over s minus a. Okay. Now, we don't necessarily calculate each and every Laplace transforms of common functions, no? Okay, even the Laplace transform of kuan, isa ka example, x squared is complex, no? Kinahanglan patag L'Hopital's rule. And taas na kayo kung i-appeal pa nato to derive. So, for convenience, the fourth slide sa akong uploaded slide is a Laplace transform of common functions. Okay? So, try to refer to it. With its designated restrictions. Now, the Laplace transform of 1 is equal to 1 over s. The Laplace transform of e to the power of 80 is equal to 1 over s minus a. So, nakita ninyo, ang table of Laplace transforms at Laplace transforms nasa slide. The Laplace transform of t to the power of n is equal to n factorial over s to the power of n plus 1. No? Cosine, sine, hyperbolic cosine, hyperbolic sine. So, I think, no, the most common functions nga atong paggamiton sa to solving linear differential equations are located sa table. So, if dili ni siya kompleto, there can always be tables of Laplace transform referred to gikan sa internet. But I think this will do, no? Kaning na sa slide. Pila man sa buok? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, 12 na sila ka buok. No? Okay. So, the main objective of why we study Laplace transform is not really for us to know Laplace transforms by itself, but di necessarily nga exhaustive ang atong knowledge sa Laplace transform because we only need Laplace transform for us to solve differential equations. So, munang reason nga mag-study tag Laplace transform. No? Okay, technically, Laplace transform by in itself is sufficient could be sufficiently studied in one semester, no? Separate na siya nga subject sa other courses, siguro sa mathematics nga degree. Pero sa ato, we'll be going to study Laplace transform para magamit siya as a tool for us to solve linear differential equations. No? So, ka-level siya sa the methods that we've used before. Ka-level siya sa MUC, MBP, and sa power series. No? So, maybe later ma-understand nato nga nung times nga convenient ang Laplace transform. So, the last slide sa atong uploaded slides is a table of common partial fraction decompositions, no? I'm sure you've encountered partial fractions before sa calculus. And as a sort of review, ako lang na-post diha because magamit na later, no? Sa atong pag-solve sa DEs using the Laplace transform. So we do not necessarily use the original formula, this one, no, all the time. Kani, because it will be very tedious, especially if differential equation ang atong function. No? So taas gid kaayo, taas magani ang solution sa Laplace transform of one, a much more very complex equations. So for convenience, we'll just refer always to our table. No? But before that, let's try to study some properties of Laplace transform na very useful for us. Again, there may be numerous properties and dili na to ma-cover tanan, but those very important for us to solve differential equations lang ang ato i-cover, no? So Laplace transform properties. Okay. So Laplace transform is a linear operation, no? Meaning there are certain properties na reserved for linear systems na applicable for Laplace transform. One of it is what if we have constants multiplied to our function, no? Let's say we have supposing, property number 1. Given taog function 1, f of t, 1 of t, multiplied by a constant, and given ta, or ato siyang i-add sa another function with multiplied by another constant. Na. So what's the Laplace transform this function? Like any other linear operations, we could always superposition bitaw. We could always individually perform Laplace transform to each of these functions, and even ang constant is pwede natin mapagawas. So this could be equal to C1, the Laplace transform of f1 of t, plus C2, the Laplace transform of f2 of t. Okay. So we call this one the linearity property because Laplace transform is a linear operation. So example, you have the function four t squared minus 3 cosine 2t plus 5 over e to the t, power of t. Okay. So I hope ang yung other attention is nasa slides na to. Okay? Di na ako i-project sa other screen. Okay, para mag-focus lang ang camera sa solution. So using the linearity property, we could decompose this one. No, ipangita na ang Laplace transform of our function. So the Laplace transform of this one as a whole would be equal to the Laplace transforms of the individual functions, no? And mapagawa sa mga constants. So this could be easily rewritten as 4 the Laplace of t squared minus 3 the Laplace of cosine 2t plus 5 the Laplace of e to the power of negative t. No? So if ingani ang atong mga given, at least mas dali na to siya solve, okay, gamit ang table. Sige da, what's the Laplace transform of this one? T squared. Base sa table. Puntahan nyo sa chat kung ano may answer. 2 factorial s cube, or 2 factorial is still 2, di ba? So, supposed to be this is n is 2, so 2 factorial, which is 1 times 2 is still 2 over s cube. Very good. Okay. Next, the Laplace of cosine 2t. So 1, 2, 3, 4, ikaapat nga function sa itong table. S over s squared minus 4. Very good. S over minus 4 or plus 4. Yeah, plus 4. S squared plus 4. Okay ba? Last, this one. A is negative 1. No? So 1 over s minus negative 1. Very good. So s plus 1. So, atong i-simplify, this becomes, notice, nawala ang t. So this is just a function of s alone. So I could rewrite this one as a function of s is equal to 8 over s cubed minus 3s all over s squared plus 4 plus 5 all over s plus 1. That's a Laplace transform of our original function. Question so far? Nasabtan ba? Kasi na question. Wala pa. Okay. So what if the question is find the inverse Laplace transform of this one? So the same magyapon, mga gyapon itong buhaton, and mo-refer lang gyapon sa table. No? Kung inverse Laplace transform kami ang question. No? So actually, kung mag-solve tag DE using Laplace transform, pair gina sila una. Ang atong given DE, transform to a function in terms of S, solve using algebra or simplify. Then, to solve for the inverse Laplace transform, kuhan lang gyapon, no? Use gyapon the table. So, another property of Laplace transform is the shift, no? Shifting property. So, we have two shifting properties. This is the first shift property or translation property. Supposing atong given function is e to the power of 80 times f of t. So the Laplace transform this one would be equal to that same function. So yung mga dependent variable is, yung mga independent variable is na minus ano a. So what does this look like? Okay. So, let's say for example, our f of t is equal to e to the power of negative t times cosine 2t. Okay. So if na pair, no, or na-multiply kibali ang atong na isa ka function then na-multiply siya og isa ka ani, pwede nga ang kanilang sa atong pangita, ang kani ang atong pangitaon, no, ang Laplace transform ani niya kani isa. Okay? So what is the Laplace transform of cosine 2t based sa table? The same kanina, no? Naman din the answer, oh. S over S plus 4. So S over S squared plus 4. Okay? So this is the Laplace transform of our cosine 2t. No? Now, to compensate for this one, no? Kung mawala ni siya, wala man nato nigi-appeal og Laplace transform. Our final answer should be sa man yang n ani negative 1, no, or yang a, I mean, is negative 1. So S minus negative 1 is S plus 1. We should ang notation nga akong ginagamit personally, no, again, para ma-compensate ning E, is make S be equal to S minus, what's A? Negative 1, di ba? Negative 1. Or let our S be S plus 1. So all S's will be replaced by S plus 1 to compensate for the shift. No? S plus 1 over S plus 1 squared plus 4. Or our final answer will be equal to S plus 1 all over S squared plus 2S plus 1 plus 5. Ano, 4 pa din eh. Tapos may yung 5. Sige nga na. Understand? Questions? Kanilang, basta ang given is, basta ang atong given is product siya of a function and an exponential function. No? So, if ang atong given is a function multiplied by an exponential function raised to the any constant times t, ang ato lang pangitaon ng Laplace transform is ang function lang. No? But for us to compensate for our exponential function, no, replace nato ang mga s by s minus whatever a. In this case, negative 1, so s plus 1. And simplify. Another property. Okay. That was the first shift or translation property. We have also a second translation or shift property. Okay. So, what if bali, no? What if our function g of t is equal to a function yang or yang kuan, the function is a composite function, no, where yang f of t kibali is B minus A. Yan na. Of course, may condition nga B is greater than A. Then the Laplace transform of this function is equal to e power of negative a s times f of s. So, bali siya, no? Ato lang po na ma-illustrate karon with an example. But ganina, if our function is composed of a product of one function and exponential function, the answer is a function, or the transform is a function or a composite function, no? For which ang insides is s minus a. What if balipod, no? R given is a composite function. Ang yan, the Laplace transform of this function is as if f of t lang ni siya, no? But ang final answer should be multiplied by an exponential function raised to the negative a power. Negative a times s power. So, yan eh, no? Another example, mas nice siguro kita na to example. So remember that based on the table, what is the Laplace transform of t cubed? Based on the table. Riemann. So 3 factorial over s to the power of t plus 1. So 3 factorial is 6 over s to the power of t plus 1. Yan na. So walang Laplace transform sa t cube. So what is the Laplace transform now of x minus 2 cube? The same function, di ba? The same naman eh. But inside our t is x minus 2. It's like this one. No? So yung answer, ane, the Laplace transform of this one would be the same Laplace transform is as if, no, as if may tao na to una ang Laplace transform sa x cube. Okay? As if nga lang sa. So the Laplace transform of x cube is na siya 6 over s to the power of 4. But i-multiply na to og e to the something power. So what is our something? What is our a? A is, in this case, positive 2. No? Yeah. Positive 2. Positive 2. Kaya kung negative 2 ni, dapat x plus 2 ni siya. No? The answer is, the Laplace transform is e times, or e to the power of 2s. Okay. Ako lang i-rewrite. 6 over s to the power of 4 e 2s. Negative. Negative or positive. Negative di ay. Ang formula is negative man, no? Although our a is 2, but ang formula mismo is negative, so negative din. Okay? Question. So far, ato lang tanawon, no? Dapat kinta if ang given ba is a composite function or if ang given ba is a function multiplied by an exponential function. So far, mo tong property 2 and property 3. So another property, which we call a scale property, no? Or change of scale. Let's say our function is function, ay ang argument, or composite siya. Pero, the function inside our composite function is just a na-multiply constant. No? So the Laplace transform of this one will be equal to ato lang i-detect kung si A, multiply lang by its reciprocal, 1 over A. And the function is, of course, in terms of S over A. So what will this look like? Using another example, supposing or taking note that the Laplace of a sine function based on the table is equal to 1 over x squared plus 1. Okay? Now, what if given taog sine to the power, sine times 3t? Okay. So what's the Laplace transform of this one? Without looking lang sa table, no? Using this as given, kaya na-define naman nun sa table. But atong tanawon kung asa tugikan, no? Using this property. Following this structure, our A is 3, no? 3t. So divide by 3. 1/3 times, instead of 1 over s squared plus 1, 1 over, our s should be in terms of s minus a, s over a. So s over 3 squared plus 1. Okay. Sige, pansa. Question, before na ko i-simplify. Understand so far? If ang argument sa tong function is the independent variable multiplied by a constant, no? Much like this one, ato una pangitawon ang Laplace transform sa atong function, no? So, kanay sin t mo ni siya. So ang Laplace transform sa sin t is this one. Patungod 3t ang argument, so replace na to si s by s over 3 and i-multiply na tong original function by 1 over 3. So yan na lang. So 1/3, simplifying lang this one, it becomes, another question? Wala. So s squared over 9 plus 1, 1 over 3 times s squared plus 9 over 9, one over s squared plus 9 over 3. And our final answer, f of s is equal to 3 over s squared plus 9. Okay. Or pwede natin i-write as s squared plus 3 squared. Para mo sa table. Question so far? Okay, next. The Laplace transform of derivatives. Okay, this is very important. Now, refer to our slide again. The very last na Laplace transform from the second to the last slide sa table na to. Rewriting it. The Laplace transform of the nth derivative of a function. The nth derivative of a function of t would be equal to s to the power of n times the Laplace of f of t minus s. Ang exponent is minus lang ito, 1. No? N minus 1 times the function of 0 minus that minus s to the power of 1 times f so pagbasa anyway the n minus 2 derivative, no? N minus 2 th derivative of 0 minus kamane una kagamay ang atong n, so this is n minus 1 and this is just s to the power of 1, then s to the power of 0. Now what is s to the power of 0? That's 1. That's why wala na s sa last na term. And atong final term is just 1 times f to the n minus 1 derivative of 0. No? So medyo taas ni siya kay nth derivative man. No? So atong na ipang-translate into the most common ones that we'll be using, first derivative and second derivative. No? So general lang ni siya nga formula. But the most common ones na itong pangamiton is katulad man pong kuan, no? Lower derivatives. So what is the Laplace transform of f prime of t? No? Meaning first derivative. What is our n? N is 1. So the Laplace transform of the first derivative of any function is just equal to s, no? N is 1. Then the Laplace transform of unevaluated f of t, no? Minus, say next 1, 0 na. So, wala na. Minus, technically, kanimonin ni siya. 0. F of 0. F of 0. Wait, higit lang sa. Yeah. Minus f at 0. Malilinday. So what is the Laplace transform then of a second derivative? Double prime. So na pattern nag-emerge, okay? S squared unevaluated Laplace of a function of t minus S f of 0 of 0 ito ba na copy? Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Saka minus f prime of 0. Sakto mo sa safe siguro kung ano. Minus 1. Wait sa text na ako. Ayos pala ganun. So the Laplace of the third derivative then, triple prime, based sa taas atong pattern, so we check s cube times the Laplace of the function minus s cube, so s squared, f of 0 minus s, f prime of 0 minus, wala na yung s, f double prime of 0. Okay. So, sakto din. 2 minus 1. 1 sakto. 1 minus 1, 0. Okay. Very good. Ayan na. Okay. Makuha na yung pattern sa Laplace of derivatives. Ang s is decreasing. No? Kung pilay degree sa atong, or pilay order sa atong derivative, mapod ang first power no, sa atong s. So, sa triple prime, so ang sugod tag s cube. Pero may gitna, nga ang first term is the Laplace of f of t, no? Dili sa ma-evaluate. Then minus lang din na tanan. Minus, 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 minus s minus 1. I mean sn minus 1. So 3 minus 1, that's 2. 2 minus 1, that's 1. 1 minus 1, 0. That's why wala na s dire. And ang mga function is a function of 0, then increasing ang derivative. No? So function of 0, function of the first derivative, function of 0, first derivative, function of 0, second derivative. So try to guess on saang itsura sa Laplace transform of a fourth derivative. No? I think sulat na siguro ninyo ang pattern. Okay? So these are what we call, no, tungkol kay in terms of 0 sila, initial value conditions. Now, unlike the conventional techniques that we've discussed so far, na initial value is sa last na nga part, i-evaluate. So, Laplace transform, always dapat na i-given nga initial conditions for us to convert it back to its final answer. No? And ang final answer, dili na siya, wala nag-contain ng arbitrary constants. Mo na gito ang answer sa atong differential equation. Okay? Sige. Maybe na may questions. Ang next ani is mag-try na tag-solve og differential equations using Laplace transform. Okay? Again, walang restate that our objective is not for us to really learn Laplace transform lang, but to use Laplace transform to solve differential equations. Okay, with the table in hand and the partial fraction decomposition, let's try to solve this one. Y prime minus 5y. Very simple nga differential equation. With initial condition, okay, try to solve this one using conventional techniques. Excuse ako kadyot, no? Just for 1 minute. Then write the final answer on our chat box. Ito, y is equal to 2 times e to the power of 5x. Okay, just for reference, the final answer of this one is 2 5x. Y is equal to 2 times e to the power of 5x. Okay, so my final answer. So I'm sure nakuha lang to ninyo in less than a minute using conventional techniques. Okay? Honestly speaking, if simple functions ang atong or if simple differential equations ang atong Laplace transform, medyo taas gid siya, no? Pero para atong understand what's the process on how to solve a differential equation using Laplace transform, no? So tag simple, okay? Sige. First step is to take the Laplace transform of all sides, okay? So i-Laplace na to ang left-hand side and right-hand side. Y prime minus 5y Laplace of 0. Of course, Laplace of 0 is 0. So the Laplace transform of y prime minus 5 Laplace transform of y. Okay? That's the first step. Find the Laplace transform. Wala pa din ito na 1 kaya i-operate pa magiging natin eh. So as the Laplace transform of y prime, atong na-solve ganina, the Laplace transform of a first derivative is s times the Laplace of the function minus f of 0. Y at 0 na kibali. So with that, answer s times the Laplace of y minus y at 0. No? So, Laplace lang na siya. No? Kani. So, na yung Laplace transform. Okay. Minus 5. Where the focus? Minus 5, the Laplace of this one. Wala tayo mabalaan na. Muna na siya. So, the Laplace of y is equal to 0. Okay. Muna tong first step. Next, create or rearrange so that our function is in terms of the Laplace of y. Apply initial value conditions at the I. Apply initial value conditions. Y at 0 is 2. So this becomes 2. No? So S Laplace of y minus 2 minus 5 the Laplace of y. Okay. And rearrange in terms of Laplace of y ang atong function. No? So this is equal to the Laplace of y s minus 5 is equal to transpose ang 2 to the other side equal to 2. Divide both sides by s minus 5. Laplace transform of y is equal to 2 over s minus 5. Okay. So that was the first step. Apply Laplace transform to both sides. Second step, apply initial value conditions. Simplify. Actually, kung complex na siya nga function, this is the time that we perform partial fraction decomposition. But kung kay simple lang man we could proceed to the final step. Find the inverse Laplace transform. So the notation for the inverse Laplace is just L to the power of negative 1. No? So inverse na siya pagbasa. The inverse of the Laplace, the inverse Laplace of the Laplace of y is of course y. So what is the inverse of the Laplace of constant when it's open? Ito na siya magkawas. 1 over s minus 5. Based on the table. Meaning, ang final answer ani is in terms of y. 2. Based on table, what is the Laplace of s minus 5? E to the power of 80. It's A. A is 5. So that the final answer is E to the power of 5t. Same sa atong answer. Okay? Okay. Wala na siya. Taas siya because simple lang man nga function sad. And then, naman tayong mga conventional methods to solve this one easily. Okay. Let's take another example. What is one? Y prime plus y is equal to sine x. Conventionally, how do we solve this one? First order linear. Gyapon, di ba? Linear equation. Kadunong pa mo sa pag-solve og linear equation. First order. So, kung nakadabunon pa mo, no, gamit ang formula. Formula man siguro to. But, if wala na, we use Laplace transform. Variable separable, makaya na ba ni variable separable? Maybe, no? Actually, I can't remember na sa itong mga, kung ano to before, methods. Kailangan tayo mag-review og another 5 minutes. Pwede naman na ito ma-recover, pero review sa taga dyan 5 minutes. Pero, wala man ta karon diri para ana. So, this one at using Laplace. Okay. Ang nakatsada sa Laplace transform di ay is the steps that we have taken to solve a first order is the same la sa second order, sa third order, even to the fifth order ordinary differential equation. Unlike lugar before, ay first order, katong atong mga methods. Second order, pwede tayo mag-power series or MUC or MVP. Pag third order, pwede na to pero lisod na, di ba? Sa mo tag fourth order, wala pong nakatag fourth order. Pero if Laplace transform atong isgutan, wala problema ang masking pila pa ng order kay the same lang ang steps or the same lang ang process whether first order or higher order derivatives or differential equations na solve using Laplace transform. As long as given lang ang initial value conditions. So let's take the Laplace transform of this one. This becomes S the Laplace of y minus y of 0 plus Laplace of y ng gihapon equal to 1 man iyang a. So 1 over x squared plus 1. Okay. Next, apply initial value conditions. This is equal to 1. Combine ang Laplace of y. Laplace of y times s plus 1 is equal to 1 over s squared plus 1 plus 1. No? Mani siya. Plus 1. Divide both sides by s plus 1. The Laplace of y is equal to 1 over s plus 1 s squared plus 1 plus 1 over s plus 1. Ito? Tapos so far akong ibuhat. Yeah. Next. Partial fraction. Yeah, I think modeling time mag-partial fraction ta. Muna siya atong i-partial fraction, di ba? Ano Nasaan eh? Or apilo na lang siguro nino. Okay, tayo na ito kanilang sa. Pwede lang niya siya wala apil. Okay lang. So, i-try nga kanina sa amin i-partial fraction. So, partial fraction ay okay. Combining like terms. Pwede na eh. Plus 2b is equal to 1. Maging gusto niya sa'yo. Sakto akong kuan. Saan ko ha. Let's see. Ay, S mo ni. Ibugyan ko. S. Sab. Sakto na siya. But S din na siya. So 1 is equal to A S squared plus 1 plus S plus 1 S plus C. Mga ganun naman unog X. simultaneously solving for A, B, and C. Calculator. Okay. 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. 1/2, negative 1/2, 1/2. So, wala tong kuan, no? 1/2, negative 1/2, 1/2. So, kani becomes 1/2, one half, minus 1/2, plus 1/2. Tapos kani pagyad. So, kaning tulo is just a partial fraction decomposition of this one. Plus 1 over this one. Well, technically, combine mo silang do siguro. Kanawag ka to. No? Three halves. So, last is find the inverse Laplace transform of everything. Sa inverse Laplace ani. E to the power of, this is s minus negative 1 minus x. Kani, cosine minus 1/2 s over s plus a squared is cosine x plus 1/2 sine. And final answer. Question. Nasabtan ba? i-separate ang unsa man katong kani kay kuan man, no? Mag-isud man ta og wala may Laplace transform nga yan nga form. Ay, okay naman no? Inverse Laplace ani niya. Pero just like this one, di man nato ni directly gamit ang table to find the inverse Laplace transform ani. That's why we need to perform partial fraction decomposition. Pero if kung makaya ba na times, pero if makaya ra decompose ka ng inverse diretsyo, just like sa first example, then there's no need for us to use PFD. So same with other later, no? Same with other later examples. Mo ni siya ang steps, no, na atong ikuan. Kung akong i-summarize siguro ang steps, no? Atong i-take. One is find the Laplace transform of everything. Laplace transform of our ordinary differential equation. And then perform initial value condition or apply, I mean. Third is, if applicable, partial fraction decomposition, then inverse Laplace transform, and then final answer. So muna siya ang mga steps normally sa pag-solve sa any linear ordinary differential equation of any order, no? Whether first order or second order. Okay? Mahulog nga kuan gyud. Mahulog nga mag-refer gid mo sa inyong own table, no? So, dapat pwede, no? Pwede ninyo masulat or ma-print or kung pwede naman mag-tab, pwede naman nyo i-open ang inyong mga table sa exam. Assume na ako na siya nga kuan kay. Pero before, katong face-to-face mga exam, ako man gina-attach ang Laplace transform sa test paper. But in this case, wala may test paper. So, kung mo na mo-provide sa inyong own table, pwede naman mo mag-refer sa slides na time. Okay? Sige, let's try to solve one last, no? One last Laplace transform. Or at least one last differential equation before we could go. I think mas nice na makita nato ang mga lahi nga cases, no? Example number 3 naman sa no? Double prime minus 3y y prime plus 4y is equal to 0. Homogeneous second order linear ODE. With initial conditions, y of 0 is 1 and y prime of 0 is equal to 5. Okay? So, pangitaon lang na itong roots substitute na to sa atong case, and then manadayin ta. Apply na the initial value conditions. So, again, this will be easily solved using conventional techniques. Pero for us to practice, let's try to solve this one using Laplace transform. So what's the Laplace of this? Ako na lang i-ditch on. Second derivative, so magsugod tag s squared. The Laplace of y minus S, y at 0, minus y prime 0. So this is just Laplace transform of our first term, the given. Minus, no? Kung po ni, no? Very important. Usay malimtan bitaw. So, minus 3 times S, the Laplace of y, minus y of 0. Plus 4, Laplace of y. Equal to 0. The initial value conditions. This is 1. This is 1. This is 5. Combining the L of y's, S squared minus 3s plus 4. The same itsura, no? Plus 4. Ang mga S. Plus S. Oh. Minus S. Minus S. Isa lang na iba ka itong S. Constants. Minus 5 plus 3. Negative 5 plus 3. Negative 2. Is equal to 0. Therefore, the Laplace of y, transpose this to the other side, this becomes S plus 2. No? S plus 2 all over this one. S squared plus 3s plus 4. Hindi ba natin siya makancel? Imaginary man roots, ani. So this is our one. Negative, oh yeah, negative 3. So negative 3. Hindi na makancel. Okay. Then perform partial fraction decomposition. Standard na gid na nga mag partial fraction. AS plus B. Okay. Or di na ba need? Pwede na di wala. So this is a case nga di na need. Wala na to. S over S squared minus 3s plus 4 plus 2 over S squared minus 3s plus 4. Okay, imaginary factor. Now, I think din musulod tong atong properties, no? Shifting properties. So, cosine most definitely. Right? So, ba ang S? Yeah, cosine. Kasi ang A. Pwede ba natin ma-transform into kuan, perfect square, no? Perfect square. Kani. Sige daw. Nine over 4. Hindi ko sa'yo. Ito ba? Then may mo na nig. S minus 3 half squared. Correct? Hmm. 4 minus 9 fourths. 7 over 4. Same with here. Okay. Hmm. Para Marshall of the form nga a squared. Di ba dapat a squared ni? So, yan na. No? Hmm. Pera. Okay. Meaning, ang atong answer ani will be multiplied by compensate siya og e to the power of 3 halves later. Or negative 3 halves. Positive 3 halves. Tungod kay S ni, wala. Natay, diba? Natay, I think nga cosine gid ni siya ang iyang inverse Laplace. So dapat na ni siya ay minus 3 halves dire plus 3 halves. No? Hmm. Mhm. Sakto, sakto manoon. Sa numerator, di ba? So, pwede mo combine dito. Subay lang. X minus 3 halves over x minus 3 halves squared plus square root of 7 over 4 squared. Plus, si 3 halves o si 2 akong i-combine. Plus mas lang denominator. 7 over 2. Na. Okay. Kanina, dali na lang ni ato ning inverse na line iyang next step ani. Okay, inverse sa cosine. Inverse Laplace sa kani is cosine. Ang next lang natin dayon is kani, no? If sine ni siya, dapat A ni, no? Dapat paralaga sila. So, dun sa parehas og A, 7 4 square root of 7 over 4 man ang A is kani kay 7 over 2. So, saan natin pag-compensate? Kasi multiply na to ani, para mo siyang square root of 7 over 4. Dapat naatay square root of 7 over 4 dire. Okay, para na siya of the form A over S minus B squared plus A squared. No? Divide lang ni by 1. Multiply lang yapon ni by square root of 4 over we can double lang ako square root over 7. So, yan na lang. No? Ito. So, muna kibali atong constant. Square root 4 is 2. Yeah. Okay, happy na ta. Subay lang. So, kani, dali na dayon nato makita ang yang inverse Laplace ani. The inverse Laplace transform of this one is, kung mo refer ta sa table, e to the power of 3 halves x times what is b square root of 7 over 4 cosine square root of 7 over 2 naman eh. No? X. Kani nga constant, this is equal to, cancel si 2, 7 over square root of 7, 7 over square root of 7. Actually, square root of 7 lang nislatanan. No? Nislatanan, this is square root of 7 times e to the power of positive 3 halves x sine square root of 7 over 2 x. Final answer. Sorry. Kusay ko na. Iwasan ako ang record.